Here's what's coming up on this April edition of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter. Whether it be man-made or a natural disaster, first responders are usually tasked with mitigating any incidents. Many of these events involve searching. Captain Jim Ingledew brings us a segment outlining search types with a focus on equipment used in the technical search. We'll get an update on the progress of the SCBA replacements from Battalion Chief Pat Humphreys. Firefighter Todd Mitchell reviews the proper setup of a handheld nebulizer. This month on the Marine scene, Master Firefighter Josh Kramer covers the safety equipment used in the team's SAR vest. And finally, Captain Josh Zanakis has two segments this month. First, the hydrogen cyanide kit recently sent to the field, and also shows us the new flush hydrant now in service at Hilltop. I'm Master Firefighter Tom Parks. Here's this month's host of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter, Master Firefighter Stuart Sayer.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program. You've probably seen some recent incidents in the news that have involved searching an unstable environment for potential victims. Whether the call is in a collapsed building or a natural disaster such as a landslide, do you know what the different search methods are and what equipment is available to you? Captain Jim Ingledew answers these questions and looks closely at the many search cameras available to the VBFD.
Responding to the aftermath of a disaster, whether from a man-made event or an act of nature, have become an all too common occurrence for fire departments all over the country as well as the world. Firefighters are responsible for responding to and mitigating the effects of Mother Nature after events like earthquakes, common in the western part of the country, horrific tornadoes and floods in the Midwest, and the devastating damage from hurricanes along the eastern seaboard and the Gulf Coast. They are called to sift through the damage and devastation of terrorist strikes against this country, like the events of the Oklahoma City bombing, the World Trade Center bombing, and the attack on September 11th. Responding firefighters and specially trained search and rescue teams must be fast, light, and mobile in the immediate aftermath of any event, no matter the cause. Responder safety in coordinating the search for missing people is paramount. The search phase and the members of the search component of any response team are typically the first to deploy. Searchers must first be able to detect and then successfully locate victims. After all, it's relatively impossible to rescue someone before you find them. The goal, obviously, is to do the most good for the greatest number of people. There are a number of effective ways to complete a search. The immediate scene, as well as the surrounding area and resources available, will dictate which will work best. There are three main types of search: canine search, physical search, and technical search. Canine search has proven to be the most effective for locating survivors that are unconscious and others that cannot respond to the efforts of searchers. These animals are trained to locate and alert on live victims while discarding the deceased and other distractions. Physical search is the most common and takes the least amount of training. It is used to detect and sometimes locate trapped or entombed victims. The most elementary is known as a hailing search, simply calling out or hailing something like, "Fire Department, search and rescue, can you hear me? If so, call out." Searchers then listen for a reply and surround the area the sound was coming from to begin a more in-depth investigation. Physical search can also involve entering a void or an area to visualize the space. In the future, robotics may be used to do some of the entries too dangerous for human searcher occupancy. Another growing trend in the fire service is the use of quadcopters for aerial views of working incidents. VBFD Multimedia Production Unit Supervisor Kirk Kellerhals purchased one recently and has used it for several video productions. The Phantom quadcopter carries a GoPro HD camera and has the capability to downlink live video to a tablet or smartphone. It also has GPS positioning to compensate for light wind, and the unit can be configured to automatically fly to and land in the same location where it took off. The Phantom can stay airborne for approximately 15 minutes. Many of you may have seen this YouTube video from Detroit of a working warehouse fire. This drone is a scratch-built hexacopter, similar to the Phantom quadcopter. Imagine having the ability to fly the quadcopter above a working fire and give the IC the ability to view most of the building from the air. Lastly, there is technical search. Technical search involves employing listening devices and search cameras. Listening devices, such as the DELSAR life detector, use special sensors wired together that pick up sound through acoustics in air as well as seismic through a medium. These devices are primarily a detection device and are extremely sensitive. They can be rendered useless in the noisy, seemingly chaotic atmosphere of a disaster without total control of the scene. Search cameras, a location device, come in a number of different styles and types. The workhorse of the industry in this country arguably is the search cam and the members of its family. The Mongoose and the Recon 2, or 3 depending on generations. The Mongoose is designed for tight spaces and has a limited ability to articulate the camera head. It simply pivots 90 degrees to one direction by pulling on the lever on the side. It has an adjustable light source and no ability to extend. This is a perfect tool for a rescue squad to use to take a look at the other side of a wall that needs breaching. This would help determine if a clean breach is required versus a dirty breach. The Recon 2 or 3 is a little bit more versatile tool in that its camera head will articulate left and right, and the boom extends from about 32 inches to 48 inches. Due to it only shortening to 32 inches, it could pose a problem if trying to employ this camera in a tight, confining space. Lastly, as mentioned before, probably the most commonly used is a SearchCam 2000 or the latest generation SearchCam 3000. There are some significant differences in the 3000 from the 2000. Probably the most conspicuous is the size, weight, and shape of the batteries. Also, the 3000, unlike the 2000, is able to record images and uses a remodeled screen which contains the control buttons. It also articulates the camera head left and right and allows for a 270-degree field of view. All the devices in the SearchCam family use interchangeable screens. The batteries, however, are interchangeable based on generations. Another camera used by the federal search and rescue teams is the Zistos. This camera has a completely different system for battery and screen. It articulates the camera head by systems of pulleys and cables. It also is extendable and has a camera head that will articulate in both directions approximately 90 degrees. The Zistos camera has an additional feature of a thermal imaging head, which works like the ticks commonly found on fire apparatus. Lastly, new to the search and rescue community in the United States is a company called Leader. Leader has developed a listening device called Leader Search that is wireless. It uses Bluetooth technology to allow the sensors to communicate with the control box. It is capable of employing up to 3 sensors to be used simultaneously at a range of about 100 meters. It also allows for traditional wired configuration like the DELSAR life detector, as well as two-way communications. Next, Leader has their version of the search camera, the Leader Cam. It differs from others in that the telescoping probe is made of a carbon fiber. This makes it not only strong, extendable to up to 8 feet, but equally important, light, only about 3 pounds. Although the screen and control box can be attached to the probe, it is designed to be held with one hand while holding the camera with the other. The picture is flippable on the screen so the user can use either hand to hold and operate the controls. What has ultimately set Leader aside from all others in this market is that they have combined the two devices in one kit called Leader Hasty. This kit comes with a camera probe and 2 wireless sensors that will operate from the same control box.
As some of you may have heard, there is a new type of hydrant being used at the Hilltop North Shopping Center. Captain Josh Zanakis shows us some of the issues you may encounter using this hydrant.
Today we're going to talk about the Mueller A415 5¼ inch flush type hydrant. There's been several issues that have come up since installing this hydrant, and we'd like to address a few of those today. This one is located behind the Hilltop West Shopping Center. We found several issues that can be addressed with relative ease. The connections located on this hydrant are the same as all the hydrants located in our city. 2 2.5 connections and 1 4.5 inch connection. When flushing the hydrant, you're able to spin the valve freely, unobstructed. Our initial thoughts were that flushing the hydrant would overflood the box. However, the box drained correctly and there was no flooding associated with flushing the hydrant. Working below grade out of this box creates some access issues. The first issue we encountered is when opening the hydrant valve. When you're 5 inches hooked up, it only allows you to get a 3/4 turn, then you have to reposition the supply wrench. We found this quite time consuming, and when individuals are in a rush, the hydrant might not get fully opened as a result. This process takes an extended period of time, which approximately takes 2 minutes to fully open the hydrant valve. The second issue is that due to the angle of the connection, when charged, it creates a pretty decent kink, which will drastically reduce the amount of water that we get from that hydrant. A quick fix to help alleviate the kink is to put a step chock under it, like you see in the picture. I just wanted to get these issues to you to see if we could possibly get them addressed so that we can have a plan in place in case we start to see these hydrants more often. We're currently in contact with Mueller to address some of the situations that we've found with the hydrant. If you have any comments or questions, please contact me at Company 8, A Shift.
Due to the problems with opening and closing the hydrant, there is a new hydrant wrench currently being developed. It will be 24 inches long with a 16-inch T-handle bar and it have an 1.5 inch pentagon socket attached to the bottom. There will be a total of 4 custom-made hydrant wrenches. 2 are on order now and 2 will be ordered at the beginning of the new fiscal year. They will be placed on engines 8, 14, 11, and engine 3. Next up is Howie's Trivia Challenge.
It's another quick 3, and again, it's all about trivia. Answers to the following clues will begin with the letter P and are firefighter related. Extends above. It's part of an exterior wall. Roof. Answer, parapet. Alcohol, ketone and lacquer. Flammable liquids. Attracted to water. Answer, polar solvents. Open or shut. Located on supply side. Visually informative. Answer, post indicator valve.
We're going to take a few minutes between training segments to talk to Chief Humphreys in Resource Management. Chief, what's going on in resource management these days?
Well, got a whole lot going on, Stuart. Matter of fact, a big ticket item that's going on right now that everybody's interested in is the SCBA replacement project, which we're in the phase 1 at this time, which does include the development of the evaluation process and trial testing criteria. We're doing that right now. And we anticipate starting the evaluations in about mid to late May. And some of the things that we're working on is the evaluation process, but it will include all the different divisions within the fire department and the companies from the field.
Okay, and could you tell some of the guys, I mean, we talk about in the firehouse and stuff, a lot of rumors and stuff like that, but what kind of technologies come along with the newer generation of SCBAs?
Well, we're real excited about it because in the new 2013 NFPA standard, they got a lot of safeguards for firefighters in them. Some of them being data logging, which will actually log all the different events within the SCBA. Also a universal pass device, and there's tons and tons of different safety features that have been upgraded in the new standard.
Also, Chief, I understand when it comes to resource management, there's some things that us in the field are not doing correctly all the time. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, yep, Stuart, part of it is we're just trying to refine our processes and become as efficient as we can. That's going to help us be able to have turnaround on equipment, whether it's turnout gear, whether it's saws or SCBAs that come in for repair, to be able to get back out in the field as quickly as possible. And some of the items that we found that we probably need to refine a little bit is the repair tag that you send in with your piece of equipment. What we're looking at is we want you to make sure that you fill out the tag completely. We want to make sure that your name is legible, the station number and shift. Also be very specific of the type of repair and problem that you have with it. give him a very detailed description of the problem and what led up to it. I'll give you an example of some of the problems we're having is somebody may write in there, we're having a leak on the first stage regulator hose going in the SCBA. Well, there are 3 hoses that go into the SCBA. Sometimes problems are hard to duplicate. So if you would put specifically which hose it is, that'll help Dave be able to track down the problem.
All right, good. Good tips. Also, for everybody out there filling out repair tags and sending in equipment, just make sure you can give Dave as much heads up as you can, and just to help him out and point him in the right direction. So thanks for joining us, Chief, and we'll get back to the training segments right now.
Hi, Captain Elmore down here at the Fire Training Center. We just completed company in-service, and I've had the opportunity to get several comments and suggestions from the field. There's some new protocols in place, some new information, some new equipment that you will have the opportunity to utilize in the field. And some of the comments and suggestions were regarding the unfamiliarity of that equipment. Todd Mitchell with the fire department graciously agreed to do a video production giving you a step-by-step that you can keep in your library, that you can go through at any time you need a refresh on these skills. So Todd's here today to go over handheld nebulizer.
Today we will be discussing where all of the items for administering a breathing treatment are located, as well as the proper assembly procedures. The handheld nebulizer kit should be found inside the TIMS IV box. However, if the IV box doesn't have one or it is damaged, you can find a spare in the inline nebulizer kit. The masked nebulizer treatment uses parts from the same handheld nebulizer kits in conjunction with a non-rebreather mask. The inline nebulizer kit is located in the airway compartment of the green jump bag. A spare inline nebulizer kit can be found in the Zone Car's green jump bag. Assembly of the handheld nebulizer kits. After opening the package, you will find 5 working parts. Those working parts are 1 mouthpiece, 1 T, 1 reservoir, 1 blue-green oxygen supply tubing, 1 jar with a cap and jet. You will also need 1 O2 cylinder. To assemble the handheld nebulizer, first hold the T, then connect the mouthpiece to one of the horizontal openings on the T. Next, connect the reservoir to the other horizontal opening of the T. Next, unscrew the cap of the jar and connect the cap to the vertical opening of the T. The medication is placed inside the jar and then reattached to the cap. Finally, the blue end of the O2 supply tubing is connected to the bottom of the jar, and the green end is connected to the O2 bottle. The O2 setting on the cylinder should be set to 6 liters per minute. It is acceptable to bend the reservoir back towards the patient's face and tape it into this position. Assembly of the mask nebulizer treatment. You will need these parts from the handheld nebulizer kit. 1 blue-green oxygen supply tubing, 1 jar with cap and jet, 1 non-rebreather, and 1 O2 cylinder. To assemble the mask nebulizer, first remove the non-rebreather from the package. Then remove the reservoir bag from the non-rebreather. Next, unscrew the cap from the jar and connect the cap to the opening of the non-rebreather created when you removed the reservoir bag. Remove the tab on the side of the non-rebreather. The medication is placed inside the jar and then reattached to the cap. Finally, the blue end of the O2 supply tubing is connected to the bottom of the jar, and the green end is connected to the O2 bottle. The O2 setting on the cylinder should be set to 6 to 8 liters per minute. Assembly of the inline nebulizer treatment. You will need these parts from the inline nebulizer kit. 1 white 90-degree elbow, 1 blue T, 1 blue reservoir, 1 blue-green oxygen supply tubing, 1 BVM, 1 extra oxygen supply tubing, and 2 oxygen cylinders. To assemble the inline nebulizer, first hold the blue T. Then connect the blue reservoir to one of the horizontal openings of the T. Next, connect the 90-degree elbow to the end of the blue reservoir. Next, disconnect the mask from the BVM and connect the 90-degree elbow to the BVM mask. Next, connect the BVM to the other horizontal opening of the T. Next, unscrew the cap of the jar and connect the cap to the vertical opening of the T. The medication is placed inside the jar and then reattached to the cap. Next, connect the blue end of the oxygen supply tubing to the bottom of the jar, and the green end is connected to one of the O2 bottles. The O2 setting on the cylinder should be set to 6 to 8 liters per minute. Finally, connect the other oxygen supply tubing to the back of the BVM, and then connect it to a second oxygen cylinder. The O2 setting on this cylinder should be 10 to 12 liters per minute. Note: if the patient is intubated or has a king airway, you will have to remove the 90-degree elbow and insert the other end back into the blue reservoir. This end of the elbow is smaller to accommodate the ET tube or king airway.
The nebulizer setup and all of the future VBFD Fire Medic segments will be available on our YouTube channel. So what equipment does our Marine team have in their SAR vests? Take a look.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Marine Scene on Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter. I'm Master Firefighter Josh Kramer, and today we're going to be talking about some of the safety devices that we carry in our SAR vest. In the vest includes a strobe light, knife, signal panel, whistle, man overboard device, and a personal locator beacon. The strobe light is kept in the off position when the vest is not in use. Before getting underway, be sure to turn the strobe light on. The strobe light is water activated. When the strobe light is submerged in water, an electrical circuit is completed and the strobe light activates. The knife can be used to cut rope or line in the case of entanglement. It has a blunt tip to help prevent puncturing any inflatable life-saving equipment such as a life raft or inflatable PFD. The signal panel is simply a bright colored piece of plastic or other material that can be easily seen by other vessels or air units. The whistle is used as an audible signaling device. The man overboard or MOB device, like the strobe light, is kept in the off position when not in use. Before getting underway, be sure to remove the black rubber stopper, then press and push the switch to the ready position. And there's a sensor that is fed down to the bottom of the vest. When that sensor gets wet, it'll send a signal to the fireboat, and several other police boats and a couple pilot boats will also receive this signal. The display on the VHF radio will show the MOB device's number and GPS coordinate. The MOB device can also be activated manually by moving the arming switch to the on position. If the MOB device is needed, be sure to deploy the antenna located on the top and hold the MOB as high out of the water as possible. The personal locator beacon, or PLB, is similar to the MOB device with the exception of who receives the distress signal. When activated, the PLB sends a signal to the Search and Rescue Satellite-Aided Tracking System, or SARSAT, which receives the PLB's unique identifier number and who and where the PLB is assigned. For example, the PLB is assigned to Fireboat 12, alert the SARSAT system that it is assigned to Fireboat 12, which runs out of Rooney Inlet in Virginia Beach, Virginia. The SARSAT has a list of phone numbers to call should they receive a distress signal from the PLB. Fire Station 12, officers assigned to Company 12, Battalion 1, and the Emergency Communications Center are some of the phone numbers listed. SARSAT will call the contacts listed to check if there is an actual emergency or if it's an accidental activation. Should it be found that an actual emergency exists, a search and rescue mission will be put in motion. The PLB gives a GPS coordinate and emits a homing signal to help locate your position. To activate the PLB, hold it out of the water and deploy the antenna. Press the on button and wait for search and rescue. That concludes this edition of the Marine Scene. I hope this serves as a good refresher for those on the Marine team and eases some nerves for those contemplating coming to the Marine team. The next segment will simulate an actual man overboard rescue and using the previously mentioned PPE. Please feel free to contact me with any questions at the information on the screen. I'm Master Firefighter Josh Kramer, and thanks for watching.
With a quick review of the hydrogen cyanide kit now in the field, here once again is Captain Josh Zanakis.
This kit's a very important kit and helps reverse the deadly effects of hydrogen cyanide poisoning from closed space fires. The cyano kit basically works. The hydroxycobalamin that's found inside the kit tightly binds to the cyanide that's located on your bloodstream, which then forms non-toxic cyanocobalamin, which is vitamin B12, and your body will naturally excrete it in the urine. Each cyano kit consists of the following items: 1 package insert, 1 quick user reference guide, 1 sterile transfer spike, 1 sterile intravenous infusion set, 1 250 milliliter glass vial containing 5 grams of hydroxycobalamin for injection. You will also need to grab normal saline out of the IV box. This drug is to only be administered by Virginia Beach Fire Department and EMS paramedics. The administration setup is a 3-step process. The first step will be to reconstitute. You're going to place the vial in an upright position and add 200 milliliters of 0.9% sodium chloride normal saline to the vial utilizing the transfer spike. There will be a line marked on the bottle that you will fill it to. Step 2, you will mix it. The vial should be repeatedly inverted or rocked, not shaken, for at least 60 seconds prior to infusion. Step 3, infusing the vial. Use the vented tubing, hang and infuse over 15 minutes. 1 5-gram vial is a complete starting dose for an adult patient. The City of Virginia Beach Fire Department and the Department of EMS will be purchasing 4 kits to place on 4 different vehicles. This drug will be kept inside of a Pelican box and will also contain the associated paperwork needed for exchange at the inpatient pharmacy at the following hospitals: Virginia Beach General, Norfolk General, Centera Lee, and Princess Anne. You will need to fill the form out located inside the box and exchange it at the inpatient pharmacy.
EMS will have only 2 kits depending on who is on duty, and will be on EMS 5, 6, or 7. If you have any questions about this kit, contact Captain Zanakis at Company 8, A Shift. That'll do it for this edition of Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to bring us a training segment with you or your shift, contact Kirk Kellerhals at the email address on the screen. And of course, look for us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. For Virginia Beach Frontline Firefighter, I'm Master Firefighter Stuart Sayer. Stay safe and see you next time.